Where should you position the golf ball for the driver? If you said, I move it forward and place it inside my lead foot, then I'm going to tell you to stick around and watch this video till the end, because I'm going to share with you some information today that you've probably never heard before and will help you avoid the biggest mistake I see golfers making when it comes to ball position and the driver, resulting in many mishits, lots of slicing and plenty of loss in distance. I think most of you will be familiar with the conventional wisdom regarding ball position, which discusses the idea that for the shortest clubs, the wedges, you're going to position the ball somewhere in the middle of your feet, the middle of your stance. And then progressively, as the irons get towards the mid irons and the longer irons, the golf ball is going to move slightly towards your front foot, progressing further forward still on the hybrids and the fairway woods, until we reach the driver where we should have it inside our left heel. And the most basic reason we change ball position for different clubs is we're trying to change the club delivery, meaning that with the shorter clubs and the golf ball being more in the center of the stance, we're trying to promote more of a downward strike ball than turf when it comes to hitting the wedges. And then as the clubs get longer, we want to reduce this severity of that angle of attack, hit down less, should I say, all the way up to the driver, where it's argued for sure that this is not a downward strike at all, it's close to a level hit. And in many cases, people are actually trying to hit up slightly on the driver, given the fact that the ball's teed up and given the fact that we're using the club with the least amount of loft. Ball position also plays a role in producing and creating your swing path. The further back I place the golf ball, the earlier I'm going to strike it based on the arc and the plane of the swing here. The further back the ball is, the more of an in to out swing I'm promoting. And equally, the further forward the golf ball is, or the later that I hit it in the swing, by that time the club's had more of a chance to come around and is now swinging out to in or to the left of my target. But the biggest mistake all golfers are making when it comes to ball position is measuring that ball position in relation to their feet. And that's not how it works. The radius of the swing emanates from the lead shoulder. The lead shoulder should be the reference point for ball position always, not the feet. So the issue for so many golfers when it comes to driver is, as they move the ball position further forward, and I would prescribe that that's a good thing to do, they do so and end up getting it further forward or in front of this lead shoulder, despite on the ground it looking like they've got the ball in the correct place. Once the golf ball gets forward in front of my lead shoulder, I'm building in more of an out to in swing path, a swing path across the ball, which, as you may already know, produces shots that typically slice to the right and lower distance. So if you're a golfer who goes from striking their iron shots beautifully and hitting them pretty straight to someone who can't control the driver off the tee and starts slicing it, this ball position lesson might be perfect for you. Let me demonstrate what I mean. Ball's on the lead heel, perfect for the driver, right? But as I widen my stance, my lead shoulder is not representative of where my lead heel is. So now I've got the ball positioned in front of my lead shoulder. I'm going to go ahead and hit driver. I can already feel like this thing's going to slice. Pretty decent strike, but there you see it, peeling off to the right, landing at 220, 225 yards, which is a big drop off my typical driver shot. 233 total and 64 yards offline. That is not going to work. But now if we take a look at the driver in the same ball position relative to my feet, but a very different ball position relative to my lead shoulder. So now my weight's more forward, my lead shoulder's now slightly in front of the ball. I've got this ball positioned differently relative to the lead shoulder, and because of that, it's going to build in a more in-to-out swing path. Looks a bit more like my standard shot, a little bit of a push, a little bit of a draw, landed at 260, finished at 270. That was 13 yards offline. That's definitely going to work much better than the first one. So in that demonstration, all I've changed is the location of my shoulder, my lead shoulder, relative to the ball. I didn't change my ball position relative to my feet, But I think it's a mistake that so many of you are making without realizing it, and it could be costing you shots every single time you play. How can you take this information and use it in your own game to help you improve? Well, I will start by saying that ball position is a variable. It's not a fixed position. It's not something that stays the same all the time for all the clubs. In fact, you'll find that many expert players will use the ball position and the changing of the ball position to change the shot that they're trying to hit. This diagram of the stack and tilt grid by my friend Andy Plummer just starts to hint at the complexity and the options you have regarding changing ball position and changing handle position. It's a topic that doesn't get much attention, and many people think it's fixed in stone, and that could not be further from the truth. Once you appreciate that ball position is a variable, you can start to move outside of your comfort zone, the things that you would do on a day-to-day basis. You can start to experiment with different ball positions relative to this lead shoulder. If you're a slicer, I'm going to tell you to move the golf ball further back in your stance. Move it further back in your stance, helping to promote a more into-out swing path to help reduce the tendencies for slicing. And if you're a hooker, you can do the opposite. So if your balls tend to curve too much to the left as a right-handed golfer, then I'm going to ask you to play around with having the golf ball further forward or in front of this lead shoulder. That's going to typically straighten out your swing path and reduce the tendencies for hooking. Remember, ball position is a variable, it is not fixed. And just to prove that point, I'm going to hit a driver off of my back foot. Probably not something you see every day, but here we go, back foot driver. Okay, no, you wouldn't expect this would work, but by putting the ball further back, I'm certainly going to need to swing more into out. This ball's not going to cut, that's for sure. Ball back in my stance. See what I do with this driver. It's going to have a bit of shape on it. There's a big push to the right to start with, but it is coming back. Wasn't the longest shot I'd ever hit, but as I say, it was a draw. If I wanted to guarantee that the golf ball was going to draw, I'd make a change like that in my swing. Maybe not as extreme as that. That pushed my swing path there out 14 degrees into out. But if you're struggling with your swing path, making a change to your ball position could have a dramatic effect. A small change can make a big difference. Guys, if you enjoyed that and you enjoyed today's video, do please hit that like button and get down into those comments and give me your ball position questions. It's a varied subject, a big subject which has lots of different potential variations on where you could place the ball for different shots. So get down in the comments and ask me any questions you've got about ball position that I wasn't able to cover in this video. If you're interested in learning more about the grid that I build on the mat, how to build it and what it does, you can go and check out a video that I'll link in the description that explains how to do that. But if you're ready to start hitting your driver longer and you want to add 60 yards to your driver without changing your swing, then you need to go and watch this video next, which tells you exactly how to do that.